Hi all, so here's a quick demonstration of BreeCS Virtual ACU, which is available in version 4.6 of BreeCS and beyond. By default it's turned off, so to enable this feature on your site should you wish to use it, go to the Advanced view, click on the Options menu at the top of the screen. Down the bottom, click on Virtual ACU Toggle On Off. So when I click it, obviously it was off, it's now turned on, and when you do turn it on, click refresh, you can now see that it's created a new ACU called Virtual ACU. Obviously this ACU would be permanently offline because it's not real, it's virtual, it's not physically connected, but it will appear in the list as such. Now basically there's two parts to it, one being the main BreeCS software side of things, and the other one is the client connection. So basically, if I go to timesheet just to show you that it's completely empty, I've made sure there's no one in this list currently. So now, for example, if I was to right click myself and click Virtual ACU, it will pop up a dialog box with the information and allow me to click a button to clock in and click the same button to clock back out. So you haven't got to click clock in or clock out. It checks the database to see whether you are in, and if you're in it will say clock out, and if you're out it will say clock in. So it's a single button, so you can't make a mistake. In addition, it will also follow the rules in the respect of start date, expiry date and access level. So if your start date is in the future, or your expiry date is in the past, or you're set to no access, barred, auto barred, alerts, drugs and alcohol test, reinduction required, etc, etc, then obviously it won't let you clock in or out via the virtual ACU, because a physical ACU wouldn't allow that either. So in this example, if I select this person that requires a drugs and alcohol test, I right click and select virtual ACU, clock in, out. As we can see, the button is grayed out and the notification states that the user does indeed require a drugs and alcohol test. So let's, first of all, I've got a token associated with myself. Let's clock in on physical hardware. As we can see, turnstile in, and if I jump over to timesheet, as we can see, I've now got a clock in time of 16:45, currently no out time. So now if I clock out, give it a few seconds to populate. There we go. We've now got a clock out of 16:45, and that's physical hardware. Double click the user, as we can see, first in, last out, and then beneath that the individual in out times. So let's close that. Now let's right click, say virtual ACU, and say clock in. As we can see, we get the pop up, and we also get an event appear in the list as normal. Now if we go back to timesheet, we can see we're now clocked in again because that out time has a dash. Double clicking, now we can see first in, there is no last out currently because it's we're currently clocked in, but the physical ACU, as in turnstile, in, out, we're now clocked in on the virtual ACU. Again, let's close that down. Now what I'll do is I've got the virtual ACU software on another machine. It's a Windows 10 machine, so let's drag that across. It's using via remote desktop. Also, this application does not require installation, it's just a standalone executable. It does not create any files, it does not modify, delete files, it doesn't create any registry entries. It's literally download it, double click it to open it, that's it. To excuse me, uninstall in quote marks, you simply just delete the file. So let's bring this window in window and then double click. As we can see, it will bring up a BreeCS Virtual ACU server browser and scan the network for Net2 instances and populate the list. Double click to connect. I've copied the Net2 login sort of style screen because you are actually logging into Net2 SQL with your system engineer password. And then basically we've got, let's make that a little bit bigger, there we go, we've now got the virtual ACU running on another machine. Also to point out, you do not need to install Paxton Net2 client or any other BreeCS software. This is completely standalone. All you need is this one executable. As long as you've got a Net2 server running on the same network, it will find it and allow you to connect to it. As we can see, we've got the live events, and these come through in real time. If somebody's in the list, I can actually, as long as they're a valid person, for example, system engineer, I can't double click because obviously it's not a valid user, but myself, I can double click and it will bring up the same dialog window to allow me to clock a user in or out. Excuse me. If the user isn't in the most recent events and I want to find the user, I just click find user and I can just type the name and then find that person in the list, double click or click OK, and it will do the same thing. So now if I click clock out, as we can see instantly we've got a clock out notification on the server machine, also with an event. And if we go back over to timesheet, we can now see we do have an out time on the Virtual ACU. So full details for me for today: first in, last out. First clock in was at a turnstile, physical hardware. Last clock out was Virtual ACU. Then I did an in and an out physical, and an in and an out virtual. First virtual being on the server machine, and the second being on the client machine. Okay guys, hope that all makes sense. Thanks for watching.